Well, how about take number 2? If this looks familiar to you, and you were in the previous stream, thank you for coming back. And like I said, this is take number 2. We got disrupted there. The first one was supposed to have to take my girlfriend's dad to home from the hospital, from the emergency room. Turns out he's going to drive himself, thank God. One, because that just means he's doing better than what they thought. And secondly, that would be about 3 hours or more of driving for myself in a Chevy Silverado that is lifted with big tires and rims and all of that, you know, country boy bullshit, which equals a lot of gas burned. And gas is really expensive right now. So, welcome back to round number 2. Wrong Side Simulations, here bringing you the best content that I can from the wrong side of the airplane, the right seat. And as always, my name is Blake, and I'm a real-world dispatcher aiming to bring you a little more realistic content or context to your flight sim viewing experience. So yeah, we are, again, and for those of you, like I said, who were here before, so I'm having to repeat myself, but this is going to be for the masses who aren't here to watch and are curious about the new SAM GroundService XP plugin for X-Plane 11. We're going to start here in Fort Lauderdale, where we have some beautiful thunderstorms to bob and weave around on our way out of here. We are going to start in a gate configuration, and then once we get to Orlando, we're going to make a quick taxi over to the Jetblue parking hangar, or Jetblue hangar to park, and run a remote configuration with the new GroundService XP. So I guess without further ado, let's jump into it. First, what I'm gonna do is I want to open up the toll list menu just to confirm that everything is zeroed out, and our fuel is at around 5,000 pounds. This is so that, you know, we have a realistic aircraft when we go to start boarding and bringing the fuel up. So that is good. Let's go ahead and open up SAM and take a look at it. Turn our music down a little bit. Alright, so this is the main screen that you'll look at. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this if you're planning on, if you already have some SAM components. In these settings, you can go down to SimBrief username and just put your name for your whatever your SimBrief name is. That way it injects it straight from SimBrief. So I'm gonna click this button to inject my flight plan, and there it is. We are actually going to depart off of 10 right this time, unlike the last stream. But we got all of the different components injected from SimBrief. But the big thing that you want to pay attention to is whatever you're going to park at your destination. For us, we're going to park at the Jetblue hangar, so we're going to select that. We'll hit start pre-flight. We're going to tell it that we want ground power, we want air. We're going to be in a jetway configuration. It's got our passenger weight. We're going to do catering. We're going to skip the cleaning this time. Cleaning doesn't really do anything, but just add extra time to the turn time. We're already on a clean airplane. Maybe we'll clean it once we get to Orlando, because we all know that Spirit Airlines passengers are they can be a little dirty sometimes. We'll do the crew shuttle as well. We got our fuel at 10.3. We've got our cargo, our baggage, all that good stuff. We'll hit load, and as you can see, if I move this, we'll start seeing everything pop up. So we got a little bag tug, another bag tug, our fuel truck, catering should pull up as well. So now we're going to jump into the airplane. I'm going to turn around over here. We'll see the jet bridge pull up. Now I don't believe this door opens on its own. TOLUS does overwrite parts of SAM, so we're going to open it ourselves. Actually, that's the wrong thing. Oh wait, look at that. It does. It does open on its own. Cool. That is good to know. It's one less thing that we have to mess with. So we've got the animated catering guy. One thing that I am very disappointed about with this program is when we are in a remote ramp configuration, it will show the passengers getting off of the bus, going up the steps, but the passengers are stationary. Whereas we have animated catering dude, I feel like we should have animated passengers. I think that alone, if we had animated passengers, people would not think twice about spending the $30 that it costs for this program. But because the passengers are stationary when they're boarding the airplane on the stairs, that is a good argument for a reason not to spend the money. It kind of ruins the immersion. But we do have an animated dude right here, so that's pretty cool. So as of right now, everything is being loaded into the airplane. You can see the bags are rolling up the bag belts, all that good stuff. So now we're going to jump back into the airplane. We're going to get ready to go. So we got our aiders aligned already. Ground control, CVR test. Cool. Strobe, nav 2. Leave that seatbelt sign off for now until the fuel. I got to resave the config. This is supposed to be off when it's in a turn status. We arm the emergency lights. Turn the AC on. All that's good. We'll go ahead and do our APU fire test. That's good. Come back down to the McDo. Let's get that second camera on. And data, AC status. We are old on the nav data. 2202 is loaded. 2203 is current. Not really sure why I didn't load up whenever I updated it yesterday, but is what it is. Shaq, stopping by, working my next flight in about 5 minutes. Man, welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. I'm sure you'll go back later on and watch this and determine whether or not you want to spend that $30 on this GroundService XP. Not really sure if I think it's worth it, but I am. We'll get through it. Let's see, a knit. Not what I wanted. A knit. I'm gonna go KFLL, KMCO. I'm not going to insert. We are Spirit Wings 565, cost index 99, cruise altitude 220, and the temperature at 22,000 feet is minus 21. Line IRSs, flight plan, Lauderdale, departure 10 right. We're on the vacay 1. Wappum transition, insert, Orlando, arrivals, ILS 17 left. We are on the rides 1. Keiki via, and then the transition is Wappum. Insert that. Ooh, severe thunderstorm in Miramar, Florida, which is where we're currently sitting. So this weather is definitely real. Get rid of that. while I'm thinking about it. Okay, inits. We're gonna wait on the zero fuel weight. Just see what happens with the zero fuel weight after SAM is done loading. Because we did have some issues earlier with that. So we're gonna wait for that portion. Let's see where SAM is at the moment. So another minute and a half on the passengers boarding. As y'all can tell, there is there's no ambient sounds even of passengers boarding. So I feel like that's another big miss. If that could be added, that I think would definitely help with the immersion a bit. If we don't have animated passengers boarding the airplane, at least we could have some ambient sounds. The fuel is finished, so we can get this fuel pumps on and the seatbelt sign on. This little X camera mini menu is getting on my nerves. Okay, so our initial altitude is going to be 5,000 feet. We got that in there. Let's check the current ATIS. So on the ATIS, Info Lima's current. Winds are 112, 10 statute miles, thunderstorms, scattered at 2,500 with CBs, broken at 6,500, broken at 10,000. Temperature's 26, dew point's 21, altimeter's 2997 still. Remarks, we got lightning distant to the southwest and the west. Occasional lightning in cloud, cloud to ground, southeast and east. Thunderstorms south and east, moving northeast. Arrivals expect ILS approach 10 left, 10 right, departing runways 10 left, 10 right. Cool. Alright, so that's done. Let's go 2997, 2997, and 29 something close to 7. So since SAM is just about done boarding, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out of view so I can always keep an eye on it. Passengers are done. They're just finishing up the baggage, so we'll get the APU started. And that APU is firing up. Now that the passengers is done, the zero fuel weight is still increasing. And I actually want to pull up the TOLOS menu at the same time and see if any of these numbers are changing. So nothing has changed on the menu here. Still saying our zero fuel weight is at 90.0. Zero fuel weight CG, still the same. There's no packs, bags, nothing. It does reflect the fuel that's on board, and that's the fuel that we're supposed to have for the flight, but we have nothing. Said loading is finished, and yet there's still no change here. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that even though it boarded passengers, it's not reflecting in the menu, and there's no other real way of knowing whether we have the passengers or not. I mean, once we enter the zero fuel weight, we're entering what's planned, or the actual, which we'll get through TOLOS, and that's going to tell us our gross weight, but we don't have a real way of knowing if those passengers are really on board or not, if this is not going to reflect it. So, let's, this kind of defeats the whole purpose of the program, right? Like, the whole purpose is to have automation so they can board and load everything. We do nothing. And when it's ready to go, we refer to here, we get our weights and stuff, and we rock out of here. But that's not the case. Now, SAM does say that our zero fuel weight's 106.9, but if it's not reflecting here, we don't really have any way of knowing.
But we do ask that laptops, tablets, and any other larger electronic devices.
So here we are, still doing shit manually. We shouldn't have to do. We'll apply that. We're going to depart in a, well, since it's raining, we got thunderstorms, possible low-level wind shear. We're going to depart in flaps 2, and we are going to do toga this time. Packs will be off. No flex temp. All that good stuff.
We're on your time now.
So they're ready to go. We need to finish this up. Zero fuel weight is 106.8 as indicated on here. Zero fuel weight CG is 28.2. Block fuel is 10.3. That's in there. Perf. Flaps to up 0.3. Dadgummit. There we go. Flex temp none, and our V speed is 17, 17, 22. Alright, that's set. Change this terrible song. Okay, so flight directors constraints, VORs are on. We got 3 dots, so we know that FCU is good to go. Turn that APU bleed on. Disconnect external power. And let's come back up to SAM, see what we can do from here. So loading is finished. We'll hit start flight, push back. Plan to push back, make sure it's still good. It is.
Cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
And back to the SAM menu, we're going to hit start pushback.
Tow is driving up.
Boom, boom, boom. Beacon on. So now the jet bridge is going to pull back. And real quick, we'll do our departure brief, and then mini brief. So departure brief. Get our charts up because we're going to need those. In fact, we'll do this. Boom. Okay, so it's going to be a right seat takeoff. Aircraft type is a 319 for tail strike avoidance. There's no MELs or CDLs that degrade the performance of the aircraft. It's a 2-engine taxi. Our taxi route is going to be Tango 8 to Quebec, Juliet 1, short 10 right. We have no hot spots, no runways to cross. If we have to abort our takeoff, it'll be my decision to reject the takeoff. We'll come to a complete stop, set the parking brake, call the flight sensitive stations, analyze situation, and cover any income actions, emergency evacuation checklist as required. After V1, we'll follow the engine out performance, or I did that last time, engine out procedure. We'll speed up, clean up. Our engine out is 1,010 feet off the ground. We're under max landing weight. If we need to come back, we'll come back from a 10 right. If all goes as planned, we're going to be flying the VK1. Initial altitude's 5,000, and we're squawking 2,000. Before start checklist, maintenance log and tails onboard check. Cockpit prep is complete. Gear pins covers are removed.
Release parking brake.
Gear pins covers removed. Signs are on. Auto ADIRS nav. Fuel we require 9.8, and we have 10.3 on board. Altimeters 2997 set. EFB is checked. Windows door slides are closed and armed. Beacons on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on. Transponder is in auto. Before start checklist is complete. Let's get out of here. So from this point, obviously there's nothing really to do with SAM until we land. And Jay, I did it again. Chalks. Every time.
Starting pushback.
Here we go.
Start engines.
Oh, it even reminded me. Alright, so getting back into the chat now. What's up? Does it show the default X-Plane menu? So the menu that it shows is this one, and you can switch it between dark and light, and that's pretty much all there is to the menu. Alright, got a good start on one. We'll roll number 2. I remember these buttons again. There we go. What are you using to get the proper AI traffic at the gates? It is a free download. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Shaq actually sent it to me.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
I'll figure it out and I'll send it to you, Jay. And good start on 2. After start flow, engine mode stick to normal. On the spoilers, reset rotor trim, flaps 2. Will be up 0.3. TA. 2 engine taxi, so we'll kill the APU. After start checklist. Engine anti-ice is off. Yellow electric pump is off. Rotor trim 0. After start checklist is complete. Alright guys, here we go. Now we're not on VATSIM today. I wanted the freedom to do what I want since we're going to be doing some weird stuff to show off ground services.
Well, see you next time and have a safe flight.
I don't know if I taxied out too early. But I think I did. Oh well, they took too long. Dylan, what's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. Are you back at work yet? Or no, you should still be off. How's your off days going, Dylan? Josh, also, how are you editing the FMS on the iPad? That thing is cool. It's a little payware program. It's about 20 bucks. It's a little plug-in called Web FMC, and it gives you remote access to just about every major payware airplane you can think of. Works for the Zebo, the Level Up, Toluses, what else? The Flight Factors. Works for pretty much everything. It's got a long list of airplanes. I believe it's on the xplane.org store called Web FMC, and you just connect to the FMS through a browser. Pretty quick and easy to use. Kind of pissed my wife off last night. My little kids start spring break this week, so I was doing my LaGuardia to Orlando flight and started around midnight. I got down, I think it meant done. I got done flying a little after 2 a.m. and got up out of my chair, and the kids were still up. Yeah, that'll piss the wife off. You have to create a checklist. And like after start checklist or after takeoff checklist, gear up, flaps retracted, B packs are set, kids in bed, check. Alright, so once we get on the straightaway, we'll do our mini brief, then flight controls check before takeoff flow, before takeoff checklist, and we'll be on our way. It's kind of funny I'm not drawing any weather at all. Actually, I haven't turned weather radar on yet. Duh. Alright, mini brief. Takeoff runway is 10 right. Our gross weight is 117.0. Fuel on board is 10.1. Flap config is 2. V speeds 117, 122, no flex. Initial altitude's 5,000 feet, and our first fix should be elbow. It is elbow. All right. Flight controls check. Full left. Full right. neutral. Full up, full down, neutral. Rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Alright, before takeoff, flow. There we go, now we got some weather radar on the ND. Does suck that there's no like rain effects on the windshield. But I might be able to change that. Alright, I'm gonna hold here. Plugins, TOLUS, general settings, rain effects. Standard, there we go, okay. Cool. Be nice to have that to begin with. Before takeoff checklist. Gross weight comparison complete. Pitch trim is 28.4% CG set, V1, VR, V2 flex is 117, 117, 122, no flex. Flaps config 2, flight instruments are checked, flight controls are checked, ECAM memo takeoff all green, ECAM status check, predicted wind shear is on auto, TCAS code set to TARA, cabin crew is advised, mini briefs complete, takeoff runways 10 right. Our fuel is 8.9 required, we've got 10.1 on board. Engine mode selector is normal, and let's see, bleeding packs are set. Before takeoff checklist is complete. Let's get out of here. So when you got weather like this in the area with some possible low-level wind shear, you want to take off in toga because you don't want to be at a reduced takeoff power if you end up getting in the middle of some wind shear. Clear on the left, clear on the right. Forward pressure on the stick. Man, Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. Eight knots, thrust set. Neutral by 100. There's V1, and rotate. We got positive rate, gear up. Sounds like daggum hell. Alright, Jay, so this is for you, sir. See these two little amber lines on the PFD? That is your flap speed. So right now we are taking off, obviously. Now we just hit acceleration, climb altitude. So we're going to nose down, get a positive trend on the airspeed. You can see that little arrow coming up on the speed tape. So now we can go thrust climb. So we are in the climb detent. Getting thrown around like a son. Get that airplane rolled over. Now we've hit acceleration altitude. We can turn one pack on. Alright, so we are above flap 1 or flap 2 speeds, and then we go flaps 1. So now we've got that S, and we've got the little amber bars here. Because we're above S speed, we can go flaps up. Let's get the autopilot on, get that second pack on. There we go. And we'll increase our altitude up to cruise, and we'll go open climb. Thrust climb, open climb. It is 15 degrees SAT outside, so we're not in icing conditions yet. I don't really know what this is supposed to be the difference in the rain sounds. Maybe some of that's hail. go, broke out of it. Alright. Boom. Nope. It's not the double clicky one. Alright, after takeoff checklist, landing gear is up, flaps are retracted, bleed packs are set, and APU is off. After takeoff checklist is complete. There's 10,000. Sweet. So Jay, hopefully that answers your question on the when to retract your flaps, and we'll do the same thing as we're coming back down, when to extend your flaps. I don't go back to the 6th. Not mad, just got back from Houston, had some great beer and food down there. It's a great time, man. I'm a little bit jelly. Right now I'm drinking nitro cold brew. I guess I gotta hold out on when I can start drinking my ranch waters in case I still have to go pick up Crystal's dad from the hospital or anything. Supposedly he's gonna drive. As soon as we got off the phone earlier, I got off the phone with her mom. She called me right back, was like, don't go. He's gonna drive himself. So if you need anything, we'll let you know. So I guess I'll wait a little while longer today to start drinking. Hell can't be cool flying through. Nope. I've seen a few pictures of airplanes that flew through hell, and some of them been so bad that the windscreen gets so damaged that they can't see out of it, and they have to do an auto land. Which is still dangerous because parts of those receivers can be damaged. Sweet. Did you know Black Rifle has actual in-person coffee stores out there? Yep, I did. I believe people can buy into the franchise if they like. So like those, I don't think are like the most official stores, but they do have like their own standalone store. It's like their first one out in San Antonio, and they're building a lot of them really quick. They're expanding very fast, which I like to see. Because instead of going to some other place, I'd rather go sit in Black Rifle and be tempted to buy more merch. So based off of ForeFlight, there should be a big sale off of our left wing. I don't really see anything that looks like a super sale like this thing is showing. We just crossed through transition, so we'll go standard. Cool. We are officially on our way. Now that we are en route, let's go back to SAM. And for the en route portion, you have a game. I don't really know what it's supposed to. It's supposed to like try to hit that. Okay. Could you imagine playing this game the entire flight? I don't know if it ever gets faster or what, but it's kind of easy. Okay, that's boring. So we'll leave everything how it is, I imagine that this is based off of current weather. So let's see. And it is. Yep. Current weather in Orlando. Winds are 130 at 8, gusting 16. 10 statute miles. Broken 4,700. Broken 8,000. Temperature is 27. Dew point 16. Altimeter is 30.00. So that's nice. Definitely help out a bit when we're programming the arrival into the McDo. And Chase just joined your party, sir, on Volanta. See you out in LA. Yep. I see ya. Nice. Alright, our final cruise of 22,000 feet. Typically, I would plan this flight at 24. In fact, since we took off to the east and we're landing south, probably wouldn't be too unreasonable to put it at 26. Because it does extend the en route time a bit. But we are flying CI 99, trying to get there as fast as we can. So we're going to keep it at 22,000. Turn that seatbelt sign off for the passengers back here. Now the next big part, real pilots watch Top Gun while flying. God, I hope not. If they do that, man, you never know what they might start doing. They might grab that side stick and try to turn off the flight control computers on the Airbus and just start rolling that thing inverted. It's called Snake. The more green squares you hit, the longer your snake gets. Oh, and you get to that point that it's so long it's hard to maneuver if you're running. Oh, okay, got you. Probably never would have found that out because I never would play it long enough. Orlando D8 is 121.25. So we got good weather the rest of the way in. 130 at 8, gusting 16. Yeah. Definitely can't land to the north of that. Climbing the 330 to Chicago from LAX. How long is that flight? About 2.5 hours or so? So the next big part that I want to show with this SAM deal that I'm kind of worried about. I've noticed when I've been playing around with this before doing the streams, often I would hit reset flight in the SAM when I was trying to get the jet bridges to work. Notice though, I would hit reset, and it's normal. Like the way the program is supposed to work is when you land, it's supposed to reset your fuel and your payload to 0. Although I don't know why it should really do the fuel, because you land with what you land with. But anyways, it will change the fuel to 0, and then when it'll say that it's fueling, but it's not fueling. It's like it's fueling, but you see your fuel pounds on the ECAM. You see your fuel quantity on the ECAM says 0, even though it's fueling. So I want to take a look at that when we land in Orlando and see if it's still going to 0 out the fuel, and if it's going to keep you from taking on more fuel, or is it going to actually work the way it's supposed to. But so far, not only is the payload not loading, it's not changing the actual payload of the airplane, but we might have fuel issues when we get into Orlando with this SAM program. already about to cross over our transition fix onto the arrival. So let's start programming the arrival. Imagine how fast this flight would be if we were landing to the north. Turn this back on. Alright, so currently again winds are 130 at 8. Temperature is 27. Altimeter 3000. Minimums 200 feet. Now that's set. Let's brief up the approach. Oh wait, I forgot that I have this little doohickey. So we are planning the ILS runway 17 left. Approach frequency is 110.95. Final approach course is 185. Final approach fix is Cocos, 1500 feet. Touchdown zone elevation is 90 feet. If we go missed, we'll climb to 5,000, make a climbing left turn to 3,000 on heading 100, and outbound on the Orlando VOR radio 140 to Presque. 16.2 DME from Orlando and hold, but we're actually not going to do that. We're just going to box it back around and try again. Shouldn't go miss though, but you never know. We have a 3-degree standard glide slope, approach lights, Pappy on the left, and again if we go miss, we'll climb to 500, make a climbing left turn to 3,000 on a 100 degree heading. For this approach we need 200 foot ceilings, half-mile visibility, we've got that, no issues there. Once we land, the runway has high-intensity runway lights, centerline lights, approach lights, touchdown zone lights, Pappy on the left. It's grooved. RVR is reporting in 7,961 feet. A viewable runway from the glide slope. It's 150 feet wide. We'll land, exit Fox, take November, across the bridge, and then up here to the Jetblue hangar, where we'll deplane, reboard, and head back south to Fort Lauderdale. And because this is an ILS, we'll go ahead and arm our approach light or ILS push buttons, and we're going to go auto brake low. So now we are set for the arrival. 3 hours and 35 minutes. Oh, that's longer than I thought. Depending on how fast and slow I'm going, might do Southwest ops later today. Orlando to Atlanta, then Atlanta to somewhere. Sounds like a good time. Once we land back in Lauderdale, aiming at doing Hillbilly's leg that I promised I was going to do him. So we're going to fly the 737 from Houston Hobby over to Tucson. I'm not very fond with this X camera when you push. So for example, this view is number 7 on my number pad. If I push it more than once, say if I just turn my view like this and I want to hit number 7 to make it turn back to where it's supposed to be, it goes back to the last view that I was in. So if I hit 7, it goes back outside. I don't want that. Just put it back to where it's supposed to be. Just under 20 miles from top of descent. I did Spirit Wings 423 last night. Nice. That big banana boat going. How long are you going to be streaming today? I want to fly around with you some when you have time. Be fine for a little while. After this leg, like I said, I'm going back down to Lauderdale. Then from there, I'm going to start a 7th stream and just do a regular flight with VATSIM and all that good stuff from Houston Hobby over to Tucson, Arizona. And that flight, I think, is about just a little over 2 hours. So it'll be fun for a little while. Two 2 hours and 50 minutes left. Okay. So not sure. Well, I'll have a better gauge of what time I'll be departing out of Houston Hobby once I get back, once I land, or once we actually get off the ground in Orlando, heading back to Lauderdale. Go ahead and schedule this other stream real quick. I can't because I'm using the same stream key. It's irritating. Alright, there's top of descent. Let's bring it on down. So bottom altitude's 9,000? Probably less than that. Alright, so Jay, what we were talking about earlier on the last stream before we had to cut it off. Ooh. Push to level. Getting real close to that overspeed. So I'm telling the airplane to level off. Slow it back down. Alright. Manage descent. So we should start seeing this increasing again. There it goes. Trying to catch up with that glass loop, or glide path actually. And there's transition altitude. 30. 30. 30. Alright. Anyway, so Jay, what we're talking about with the autopilot on the Airbus. If you want to give it to the airplane, which is what you've planned in the McDo, you push the button in. So I'm giving it to you, the airplane. I should do that. You, the airplane. If you want to tell the airplane to do what you want it to do, you pull. So you're giving it to me, the pilot. So for example, right now we are in LNAV mode. If I wanted to go into a heading, which is basically I'm going to tell the airplane what heading to fly, so give it to me, I would pull the knob and then select the heading. And now to put it in heading mode, it'll fly heading. You might already know that, but figure I'd cover it. For your speed, right now we're in managed speed. If you have the dashes, you're in managed. Whereas if you want to go selected speed, so you want to tell the airplane, give me the speed, I want to tell you how fast to fly, you pull the knob, select your speed. Also, selected is indicated by blue rather than magenta. Now if I want to go back into managed speed, we'll just push the knob in, it's back into managed. And now you can see we got the magenta color back. What else? So like open climb, open descent. Basically, open climb, open descent is the airplane is going to pitch for that speed. It's going to ignore all constraints. It's going to ignore speed constraints, altitude constraints. It's going to solely pitch for that speed. Speaking of, okay, we're catching back up to glide path. So open, like in this example, or for like what we're doing right now, open descent versus managed descent. Open is just going to pitch for this current speed that we're flying, and it's going to, well, now it's just dropped because we're going below 10,000. But it's going to pitch for the speed versus a managed descent where it's going to fly the calculated glide path. So it's going to fly this little green dot here. It's going to stay on that. If you have this green dot right here, you're right where you want to be on the glide path. If this is low, then you're too high. If the green dot is high, then you're too low. You can also refer to your McDo to see your vertical deviation off of the glide path. Now say like ATC starts you high. They start you high, what you'll want to do is go into an open descent. So you'd pull the knob here on the altitude, and that'll make the airplane pitch for speed, and it'll descend as fast as it can while maintaining that speed. There is a more advanced technique to descend really fast using the autopilot in the Airbus, which basically just consists of slowing the airplane down while you're level, dialing in the altitude that you want, put it into an open descent, and then spin the speed up, and the airplane's going to like really descend fast to try to catch up with that speed and maintain that speed. I think we covered that in another previous episode. But anyways, this is what I was thinking about whenever you were talking about you had a hard time getting up to speed last night when you were flying the 321. So were you in selected speed or were you in managed speed? And also, if you were in managed speed, were you messing with speeds in the McDo? Damn. What route you flying, Chase? Flying pretty much direct? Busy. I see your little drawing on there. See if it. I guess it's not going to tell me what route you're flying. Yeah, it does. Dots to Clee. Huh. That's weird. I don't think your fix should be that far away. Unless your McDo is not set up correctly with the correct routing. That's probably what it is. Alright, we'll get this back on here. So once we land, again, we're going to taxi over to the JetBlue hangar, and we're going to, when we shut down the airplane, we turn the beacon light off, SAM should automatically begin to deplane everybody. Now, what I'm curious about, in addition to the whole zeroing out the fuel and not taking on more fuel for the next flight, I'm curious if it knows whether or not to do a jet bridge configuration or do a stairs configuration, like a remote pad. Because I have a feeling, I don't know, we'll see what it says. See if it asks me which one. Parking, the flight's in progress. Okay, so it should probably ask. It's our temperature 14 degrees. We are not in icing conditions. Hopefully start seeing the ground pretty soon. There it is. Alright, we're going to shorten up this little downwind or upwind portion. No, downwind. Keep it going down to 4,000. Alright, so Jay, we are below flap 1 speed, as you can tell with the little amber. But that doesn't mean you have to go flaps 1. But if a time comes where you do need to expand the surface volume of the wing, you can definitely do so as long as you're below those little amber bars. There's 4,000. Let's go direct Hervey. Insert. Now the airplane's going to turn and go direct Hervey. From this point on the approach, I do not like to stay in managed speed whatsoever. It'll tank the speed when you're not ready for it. Once you're like close to the airport and you start configuring, the airplane will automatically assume you want to activate the approach phase, and then next thing you know, your speed's tanking to your VREF, and you're still 3,000 feet up and all that stuff. So let's go perf. Next. Guess it's already. That's not activated yet, is it? It's not giving me the option to yet. Alright, so speed brakes, we'll stow those. We're at 200 knots, 15 miles. We'll go ahead and go flaps 1. Arm the approach. Now we're starting to join the ILS. And so a good general rule of thumb for you, Jay, as far as like on your approaches, typically if you can be, you want to fly like 170 knots till 7 miles. So that's obviously like when you're getting pretty close. At this point we're at 14 miles, 200 knots, so we can start slowing it down. Let's say we'll start with 190, so we get a little bit closer. Glide slope, Loke star. Our missed approach altitude was 3,000. So now that the glide slope is on, we can go ahead and get that where we want it. And let's drop it down to 170, and we'll stay 170 till 7 miles. Alright, so Jay, might be a little hard to see, but we're right on the next set of amber little bars. Once we're below those, we are below flap 2 speed, and we can go into flaps 2. We have captured the localizer. And we are struggling to slow down, so let's go ahead and drop the gear. Usually I would drop the gear at 7 miles, but we're not slowing down very well. Airplane needs the help. So gear down, spoilers are armed. When you drop the gear, you arm your spoilers. When you raise the gear, disarm your spoilers. It's all one little flow. Alright, so we're below flap 2 speed, so we'll go flaps 2. So now, as you can tell, it moved the amber bars a little bit lower. That's going to be your flap 3 speed. And we'll say we're clear to land.
2,000.
We're just about at that 7 mile mark, so we'll go manage speed. That's going to fly our VREF. We're below flap 3 speed, so we'll go flaps 3. And we're below flaps full speed, so we'll go flaps full. 6 miles. And we'll ding the flight attendants. Landing checklist. Cabin crews advised. Auto thrust speed. Auto brakes low and EK memo landing all green. Landing checklist complete. Will be 1,000 or stable by 1,000. So when it calls 1,000, make sure we're stable. We'll call it out.
1,000.
We are stable. My airplane. Got a left quartering crosswind. We're going to try to butter it. This is more of a product review stream. So if it don't,
500.
I'm sure y'all will still judge me. A little high, we're correcting.
400.
As long as we don't exceed 1,000 feet per minute, we're still considered stable.
300.
100 above.
Crabbing it into the wind.
200.
Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard. Retard.
10.
5.
I'll take it. Spoilers, reverse green, decel. There's 60 knots. Manual braking.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Orlando. The local time is 1:57 p.m. and it's currently about 81 degrees Fahrenheit. You can now use your mobile devices. Please remain seated.
Alright, so now we're going to head over to the Jetblue hangar,
Sign.
and we'll see what Sam does when we block in.
Items may have been shifted during the flight. If this is your final destination, we thank you for flying.
The documentation that came with ground services says it should zero out the payload and zero out the fuel. So we'll see what it does. We'll clean up. Starting from the weather radar, predictive wind shear, disarm, flaps, TA. Get rid of flight directors, constraints, and all that good stuff. And kill the landing lights, strobes, and we'll start the APU. So we taxied off at 58. Or came out of reverse at 58. Alright, start the APU. And if we get that 3 minutes, we'll do a single engine taxi in. One thing I hate about that runway is that it takes so long to taxi all the way down unless you let the plane roll after takeoff. Yeah, that's why I went into manual braking pretty quick, so I could just kind of do that rollout at 60 knots and just gradually slow it down. My landings have sucked recently, so don't feel bad. Tell you what, man, it's landing an X-plane, especially in the Airbus, is way different than Microsoft Flight Sim. Alright, APU is available. Let's go ahead and shut down too, even though it hasn't been 3 minutes. It's not a big deal. Not in simulation anyways. Tom, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Where are you at? What you doing today? everybody in the chat. Mr. Tom in the chat, he's a good friend of mine, and a real-world right seat Airbus pilot. So Tom, just to fill you in, there's a new product that was released for the flight sim. Product is to do all the ground handling automated, so that you don't have to do anything. It simulates boarding your passengers and loading your bags and cargo and your fuel and all that good stuff, and you can just do your pre-flight duties. So it's a new product, so today we're taking a look at it and we're reviewing it for anybody who is on the fence if they want to spend the money to buy it. That's what we're doing today. So we just landed here in Orlando. We're going to taxi over to the JetBlue hangar so that this new ground handling product we'll see what it does with the remote ramp configuration. And we're going to turn around and head right back over to Fort Lauderdale. Right now there's a special weather advisory in Miramar, the Fort Lauderdale area, for thunderstorms, so we'll be flying into that. It's going to be a good time. Clear left and clear right. So the first thing I'm not really liking, I don't see, so we've told the program where we're parking at, but yet it's not giving us anything, no rampers, no nothing. Honestly, I don't really know where to park. I don't know where to go. There's nothing to indicate where in the hell to park. And we need to be in a parking spot for this software to work, I would imagine. So we'll try this. We'll try to rig it. Let's go main menu, flight config, change, just to make sure that we get in the right spot. I don't want to start a new flight. Alright, we're just going to shut down here and see what it does. APU is on. Get rid of yellow electric pump. Shut down 1. And obviously turn all these lights off. Beacons off, seatbelt signs off, fuel pumps. Alright, is anything happening outside? No. Plug in SAM. Alright. Enable ground power, ground air, stairs. Oh, okay, so now we do have stuff coming. Sweet. So we don't even have to like be in an exact parking spot. That definitely helps. Just got home, pulled up YouTube. Sweet. The SAM interface reminded me of new FlySmart software we're supposed to get. What's FlySmart supposed to do? Like a scheduling kind of thing? What is that for y'all? Might try to stream some flight simulator sometime. Yeah, man, do it. It's a lot of fun. It's different whenever you're not just flying by yourself in an empty world. Like when you have people to talk to and all that, it's a good time. So it looks like everything's going how it's supposed to. Now this is one of my complaints. We got all these passengers that are coming off the airplane, but they're just stationary. They're not moving, they're not animated. To me, that's a big drawback on all of this. So let's jump into the cockpit. We still have our fuel on board, 6.2. Alright, so now I'm going to go to SimBrief real quick and activate my next flight. And this time we're going to take an alternate of Orlando. Alternates. Cool. Generate. So the idea here is that we want to be able to do a turn without ever having to leave the sim or have to really do much of anything other than activate the flight through SAM. Our locator guy still doing his thing. We'll get that cockpit door open. So at least we have now made it to Orlando. In the same way you are selecting all the options within the sim, FlySmart will allow us to make performance calculations within the flight deck. Ah, sweet. So will that alleviate some of the functions that dispatchers will have to do, like radio closeouts and all of that? Assuming... No, because I guess dispatchers will still have to do zero fuel weight resets if y'all aren't getting performance numbers based off your zero fuel weight. So we'll have to reset that still. But maybe if it's just a car's reception and not a reset, then y'all will be able to use that and get out of there without having to really have us do anything for y'all. Alright, so it looks like they are done deplaning and all that good stuff. I'm going to get everything set up for the next flight. So KMCO, NKS 566. That's reset. Start a new flight. That's done there. Cool. Alright, so let's see what SAM does. Still taking off the bags, cargo. Alright, so we're going to let it do its thing. While it's doing that, let's go ahead and start programming the McDo and all for our next leg. ACARS will be back up. Okay. Sweet. That's definitely a nice little feature to have. Having problems calibrating my honeycomb yoke with the Zebo 737. The physics are good, but the plane likes to yaw to the left instead of where I am turning. So make sure your rudder's not bound to your yoke in any way. Because I know some people will bound their rudder or something like that to the yoke so they can like steer on the ground. But if you're doing that, you're going to be turning the rudder while you're airborne. You don't want that to happen. Alright, so back down here, let's roll with number 2. So we got our data, we've already checked that. It's not current, but nobody cares. Init, KMCO, KFLL, flight number, Spirit Wings, 566, cost index, what did I plan on this one? I don't think this one's 99. Bring this up so y'all can see it. So we are planned at a CI 28 for this leg. Cruising altitude, we fly level 230, and the temperature is minus 23. Flight plan, Orlando, departure 17 right. Our route is going to be the Dandy 2, Jipod, Kuda 1. So Dandy 2, Jipod, insert, Lauderdale arrival, ILS 10 left, Kuda 1, Holid via, and Tripod transition. Insert. We'll leave that discon. That would be vectors. And then this discon is for the approach. To join the star from the approach. We'll leave that. That looks like our SID and star are connected. No discon there, so that's good. Leave that there for now. See if SAM is done. Alright, so they are done. Now, this is the worry that I've got. Let me get rid of this so y'all can see it. When we hit reset flight, it's going to clear out our fuel. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. Gives us UE times. Fuel and all that. Okay, so if we hit reset, maybe it won't clear it out. But earlier in the day when I was playing with this, trying to get it figured out, I would hit reset and it would wipe everything out, which is not realistic because it's not like when you land an airplane and you block into the gate, some fueler comes out and steals all your fuel and then comes back and puts more in later. It's not the case. So, reset flight. Plan. Sim brief. We're going to go back to gate Golf 6. Maybe today. There it is. That's Golf 5. Give me 6. There you go. Alright. Blah, blah, blah. 17 right. Cool. Start pre-flight. Ground air. Stairs this time. We'll do catering, cleaning, crew shuttle. We're going to do it all. We're taking more gas this time because we're carrying an alternate. It's going to take roughly 10 minutes. So I'm jumping back outside. Got the little bus pulling up. Now, they shouldn't start boarding until the cleaners are done. But I guess they're going to anyway. Or I guess they're going to wait. SAM menu. Yeah, so the passengers are there. They're waiting for the cleaners to get done. Cleaners going to take 8 damn minutes. And then passengers start boarding, which will take 3 minutes. As you can tell, the weights are going up, so the zero fuel weight's increasing, fuel's increasing. But the big question is it really increasing anything on the actual airplane? So we go to the TOLUS menu. As of right now, it says our fuel is 8.2. But it still has all the same payload that we took from Lauderdale. So I'm going to close this, bring it back up again. So now our fuel is even higher. So it is taking the fuel. But it's not adjusting any of the passengers yet. Obviously because we're not boarding yet. But it didn't do it last flight. So I would imagine it's not going to do it this flight. But we'll see. That's the whole point of the stream. Is to figure out what this program will do and if it's worth the money. While we wait, I'm going to put in our planned zero fuel weight, which is planned zero fuel weight is 105.6, and it should be a relatively close CG to the last flight, so we'll just put in 28 for now and we'll figure out the actual when we get it. Block fuel is planned at 13.2. That's in there. I'm not going to mess with these with the fuel, because every time I do, actually, Tom, since you're watching, let me know if I do something wrong on this portion. Usually I don't mess with the fuel in the fuel prediction page, just because every time I do, it's like it doesn't like something and says I'm going to be burning into reserve and this and that. But let's give it a shot this time. We're going to plan 0.2 on the taxi. You know, it's probably higher on the paperwork. Taxi 440. Yeah, we'll just do it for shits and giggles. 4.0. Route reserve. Tom, what do y'all do? Is this obviously this is where you would put your reserve, right? For us, it's 3.2 on this particular flight. Not allowed. There you go, route reserve. Alternate fuel 3.4. Okay, that's dumb. Oh wait, never mind. Gotta put in KMCO here. Oh, what the hell, dude? KMC. Nope. Oh. Put it in. No, I don't want that. Now, init B. So it's calculating the alternate on its own. No, you know what? This is what makes sense to me. Clear this out. And then final time would be our min diversion, not including the alternate. 3.2. So yeah, so it's saying that we're negative on the fuel. And this is why I never mess with this. Cruise winds. Top of climb. 258 at 16. Okay. Dandy. Don't have it because it's still in the climb. I don't like this. It's irritating the shit out of me. This is 85.29. Still says we're negative. And that's why. I had 4,000 on the taxi. That'll do it. Alright, so now we've got 2.6 of extra, which is 42 minutes of extra fuel. So we'll go with that. Let's see how Sam's going. Cleaning for another minute and a half. Cool. Total, let's bring this up. So we'll wait and get our performance once the boarding is complete. Charts. Let's clear all this out and get us a new route. This thing's doing something weird. Should have cleared everything out. Dandy 2. Nope. Yeah, it's still doing a star. So whatever. We'll just... Wow. Let's bring it up to damn star. It's supposed to default to nothing. So now the passengers are boarding, now that they're walking up the steps, although they're not actually walking. They're not animated, which is a little annoying to me, but they are boarding. Charts. Signed by ATC. Going to the east, so we'll do 9,000 this time. Alright, so now that it's boarding, let's see if anything's actually changing in the TOLUS menu. Look at that, it's not. So even though SAM says it's boarding and you see numbers changing, so you see the zero fuel weight's changing, takeoff weight, all this stuff's changing. Payload, nothing's changing in the TOLUS. Therefore, that weight that SAM says is being put on the airplane is not being put on the airplane, and you still have to manually do it yourself, at least with the TOLUS, in the TOLUS menu. But this is also the same thing that I've seen with the Level Up 737 and the Zebo 737. As soon as it's done, all that payload that it gave you goes away. It disappears. My daughter is home having lunch with me. You have to say hi to Caitlin. Well, Caitlin, how's it going? I'm Blake. Nice to meet you. Your dad's an awesome guy. One of my favorite guys at the crash pad. Thank you for sharing him with us down in SoFlo. So, we'll just manually do it ourselves again. Totally ruin the immersion. Zero fuel weight's going to be 105.6. So we'll just reduce the passengers a little bit. That'll work. So now we've got our passengers. It's weird. It works with the fuel, but it doesn't work with the payload. Alright, so now everything is should be closing up. And once we get back in the cockpit and we turn on the beacon light, I think everything else should pull away. We got our fuel, so fuel pumps come on. Seatbelt sign, come on. Make sure it's in. I keep getting confused with these double clicks on this stupid airplane. Okay, so for the zero fuel weight, let's back in. Zero fuel weight's 105.5. It's pretty close. A CG of 28.2. Block fuel 13.1 now. Perf. We're going to take off in a flaps 1. No toga. That's going to give us up 0.2. Flex temp of 73. And the V speeds of 126, 126, 129. Sweet, that's it. Alright, I think we are pretty much ready to go. Control 0, shut that. APU's on, it's been running. So we can get that bleed on. We don't need the 3-minute warm-up, obviously. And then Tolus, it's got the external power, which we're never hooked up to, so we can disconnect that. It won't let me. Probably because SAM. But now we've... Oh, we haven't. Let's go beacon light on, just to see what it does. There it goes. Yep, so everything is shutting up. Those doors should get out of the way. Not really sure how I'm going to get out of here, but who cares? It's a simulator. Okie dokie. That would be one. Flight directors, flight directors. Cool. Let's get our Orlando ATIS. Winds are 110 at 11. 10 statute miles. Broken 45, broken 55. Temperature 27.16. Altimeter's 2999. Alright, so for departure brief, it's going to be a right seat takeoff. The aircraft type is a 319 for tail strike avoidance. There's no MELs or CDLs that degrade the performance of the aircraft. It's going to be a 2-engine taxi. Your taxi route is going to be, we're going to figure out how to get out of this little spot we're in. And then Lima, Kilo, short of 17 right. No hot spots, runways to cross. Terrain's no factor. Weather's no factor. If we have emergency before V1, it'd be my decision to reject the takeoff, come to complete stop, set the parking brake, call flight attendants to their stations, run any ECAM actions or the emergency evacuation checklist as required. After V1, we'll follow the engine out procedure. I don't know why I say performance every time I do that. Which I don't have. We'll just do what the hell ever we want because we can. We'll speed up, clean up. Our engine out is 1,100 feet off the ground. We are under max landing weight, and if we have to come back, we'll come back to 17 left. If all goes as planned, our initial altitude is going to be 9,000. We're flying the hell are we flying again? Flying the Dandy to departure, and we're squawking 2,000. Departure brief is complete. Before start checklist, maintenance log and tails, onboard check, copper preps complete, gear pins, covers are removed, signs are on, auto ADRs are in nav. Fuel, our min required is, where'd it go? 12.7. We've got 13, 1 on board. Altimeter is 2999. EFB is checked. Windows, doors, and slides are closed and arm. Beacon is on. Door lever is idle. Parking brake is on. Before start checklist is complete. Now, I don't think there's anything else we need to do with SAM. Departure, we're not pushing back. So we'll fire up, and I guess we'll just power out. Do it old school. Nope. Now if I remember what button. There we go. Girlfriend just got a Chick-fil-A frosted coffee. It's one of my favorite drinks in the world. Thank you for reminding me on the chalks. I actually already made sure that they were not connected or in place. Never did set them when we parked back in. And that will be a good start on 1. Roll number 2. So I will say that so far this new program works pretty good. There are some things that it's missing that I would like to see. I would like to see ambient sounds for whatever is going on. If you have passengers board and I want to hear them. If you got catering, I want to hear like the little carts moving back and forth. I would like to see animated passengers. And lastly, and probably the biggest part that kills the immersion is there not being any, like the payload not changing the way it's supposed to. That right there is, I mean, that's kind of the whole nitty gritty of the whole program, and it's not working. This is great. It's like a day in my life as a pilot for my family to watch. Sadly, they aren't all that impressed. Well, sorry I couldn't impress them. Because, you know, I'm a little peasant dispatcher. Alright, we got a good start on 2 after start flow. Engine mode selected normal, arm spoilers, reset rotor trim, flaps 1 for this takeoff. It's going to be up 0.1. Go into TA. And we can kill the APU. Alright, let's power out of this thing. I stopped a little quicker than I thought it was going to. Thought it would roll a little bit further. But I bet we can squeeze out of here. Oh yeah, we're good. Very nice. Obviously, it's a very, very short taxi. So we'll get our little mini brief. Whoops. So I need another pilot. Takeoff runway is going to be runway 17 left. Our gross weight is 118.6. Planned is 118.4. Fuel on board is 13 even. Flap config is 1 plus F. V speeds looking at 126 and 129. Initial altitude, or flex, is 73. Initial altitude 9,000. And our first fix is it's gonna be vectors and then to UK. Mini brief is complete. Flight controls check. You got full left, full right, and neutral. Full up, full down, neutral rudder. Full left, full right, neutral. A little FO, or non-pilot flying, I guess, whatever, since we are the FO at all times. Does theirs. Cool. Let's go. Sweet. Oh yeah, I forgot to do after start. Engine anti-ice is off. Yellow pump is off. Rudder trim is 0. I'm getting all nervous now that Tom's in here. When be judging me. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Gross weight compressed complete pitch trim is 28.2% CG set. V1 VR V2 flex 126, 126, 129. Flex 73. Flaps config 2, flight instruments checked, flight controls are checked, ECAM memo, takeoff all green. ECAM status is checked, predictive wind shear is on auto, TCAS code set to TRA, cabin crews advised, mini briefs complete, before takeoff checklist to the line is complete. And again, we're not running VATSIM or any ATC today just because I want to be able to do what I wanted to do since we're doing this little product review. Before takeoff checklist, below the line, takeoff runway 17 right, and it's confirmed. Fuel, what was it, 12.7 is required. We've got 13 on board. Engine mode sectors, normal bleed packs are set. Before takeoff checklist, below the line is complete. Oh, other way, there we go. I got a slight cross-quartering headwind from the left. Man, flex, SRS runway, Arthur's blue. A nice thrust set. Neutral by 100. There's V1 and rotate. Nav. Positive rate, gear up. I would disarm the spoilers right now, but there's no button that makes it go disarmed, only armed. It's kind of annoying. Those flight directors bounce around like crazy. Acceleration, altitude, nose it down, get a positive trend on the airspeed. There it is. Thrust climb. And we are now above S speed, so we can go flaps up. After takeoff checklist, landing gear is up, flaps retracted, bleed packs are set, and APU is off. After takeoff checklist is complete. And let's go direct. Let's cut it short. No, we'll go UK. Insert. There we go. Now I can disarm this. And we are on our way to Fort Lauderdale, where all the thunderstorms are rocking. Ever taxi and you look down to something, look back up, and you're way into the grass? I have actually done that before. Well, I'm about way into the grass, but like about to be in the grass. That's the whole point of having two pilots, right? You can have one that's taxiing, and the other one's doing mini briefs and the flows and all that good stuff. Maybe one day I'll learn how to do shared cockpit, and myself and somebody else can fly together, and that way nobody's running off into the grass. I did 12 hours of plane spotting yesterday. Good God, AvGeek, man, that's a long time to be outside. Long. If you're sitting out that long, you might as well make some money doing that. Get some equipment or a camera. I don't even know how those plane spotter guys do it. But man, you'd create you a channel doing that and make a little money. Speed alt star. Keep it going up to our final of 23,000 feet. 23 blue. 23 blue. Thrust climb, open climb. We're now above 10. I did not turn packs on for this flight. EQ, I'll taxi for you. Sounds good. Jay, I'll let you do the flying and I'll do the flows and checklists and all that good stuff. I'll be your instructor. And if you need any help learning Airbus stuff, I'll teach you. Yeah. Tom, I'm looking at your text. It's pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to go look at the read files. They may have put something out about this since I've been gone from work. One day it's all going to be automated and dispatchers will go away forever. Learn the 175. And honestly, I've been thinking about getting that airplane. I don't see anybody streaming it. So I don't know if that means it's a terrible airplane or nobody wants to see it or nobody really wants to fly it. But I do like learning new airplanes. It was pretty smooth on the way down, so we'll go ahead and kill that seatbelt sign, even though I forgot to put our passengers on with the PAX program. And there's transition altitude. We'll go standard, standard, and standard. So the McDo says we should have 9.3 on the ground fuel on board. Our paperwork says 8.9. As of right now, we're under burning, which is always good. We get to Dandy, we'll do a fuel check. Another 7 miles. It should be an interesting landing if we have thunderstorms there. Yeah, it's just the FMS or whatever they call it on the Embraer. That's the confusing part. Especially getting proficient enough with it to be able to fly online with ATC and be able to comply with any commands that they give. Alright, Chase, welcome back, my friend. Haven't missed a whole lot. I'm just climbing out of Orlando. Alright, so there's Dandy Speed Alt Star. At Dandy, we're supposed to have, wherever I can find it, 11,000. And we've got 11.2. Not too bad. Let's go make a little shortcut, and we'll go direct to Colat. Insert. Looks good. Should have done a beam points. Alt cruise. Dude, that thing is weird. I'm telling you, it's a weird hybrid between like Airbus and Boeing and McDonnell Douglas a little bit, I believe, is what I've heard. It is a weird airplane. Request, yep. Add that. Oh, I see you, Hillbilly. Headed on into... Where are you going? Robertson Field. Man, flying that GA. Now that is an area of things I am not afraid, or I am too afraid to do, especially going into controlled airspace like you are. Shoot, you got center. Providence approach is online. Oh, but you're not going to go to Providence approach. Here's what we're looking at, guys. This is Hillbilly Gypsy making his way over to Robertson Field. On a Piper Arrow. Braver than I am. Somebody just subscribed, but for some reason it's telling me. That's really weird. We gotta go fix that. So whoever the lovely person is out there who just subscribed, please let it be known in the chat so I can thank you properly. For some reason my alerts did not work the way they're supposed to. It's really weird. Save. Copy. Use. Save that. I don't know, isn't it? It's really weird. I don't know why the alerts didn't work. Like the donation alert works well. Like whenever Tony and Hillbilly donated in past streams, it showed the name. So I don't really know why it wouldn't show a subscriber's name. But whoever it was that subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope that I always earn your subscription and provide content that you like to see. And thank you so much for helping this channel move forward. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Unless maybe it was like a resubscribe. I wonder if that would throw off the alerts. If it was like somebody who had before and then unsubscribed and then resubscribed, maybe that would throw it off. Cancel. So Chase, you got a little ways to go still. I see you drawing airplanes on there. That's funny. So we have 150 miles to go. Should be on the ground in about 30 minutes, and then from there we're going to we'll cancel or we'll end this stream, and then we're going to do Hillbilly's stream, which is from Houston Hobby over to Tucson. That'll be our next flight. We'll be operating Southwest Airlines 737-800. Should be a fun little flight. Spirit Wings 629 was canceled. How often do flights cancel? On a good day, maybe 0 or 1. We can usually go a day without having hardly any cancels out of roughly 800 flights. But you know, if we have a meltdown of some sort, whether it's ATC or weather or IT or whatever the case, then yeah, we might have a bunch. I've seen up to well over 100 cancels before, with like a surprise IROP, irregular operation. Tom said I shared with the Crash Pass chat. Awesome, man. I appreciate that. So now all the guys can watch and make fun of the shit that I do wrong. Be a good time. I actually may not be in the crash pad much longer. We had some changes with some things with the company, and it looks like I might be able to start not commuting relatively soon. They say as soon as the bid's done, I could probably stop commuting, start working in Orlando. So maybe earliest a couple weeks, but I don't know. We'll see. I've had a talk with Jay and let him know I might still hang on to the crash pad for a month or two, just in case if anything reverts, because you know how company can be. I don't want to lose my bed in the event that they're like, oh, you know what? Never mind. Keep commuting. I don't think it will happen, but you never know. All right, so about 20 miles out from our top of descent. Should have done this a little earlier, but we'll do it quick. So on our charts, looking at ILS runway 10 left. Approach frequency is 110.1. Final approach course is 96 degrees. And final approach fix is Nova at 1,800 feet. Decision height is 200 feet off the ground. Touchdown zone elevation is 7 feet. If we go missed, we'll climb to 800 and climb a left turn to 4,000. And after that, we'll just box ourselves back around. Try it again. We have a 3-degree standard glide slope with approach lights, Pappy on the left. And again, we go missed, climb to 800, climb a left turn to 4,000. We need 200-foot ceilings, half-mile visibility to shoot this approach. And we currently have, it's going to be fun. Info Oscar, special, winds are 130 at 11, 10 statute miles, light rain, scattered 22, scattered 45, broken 11, broken 25, temperatures 26, dew point 22, altimeter 2996, lightning distant to the southwest, occasional lightning in cloud and cloud to ground. We got CBs to the northwest, moving north, so that should be, for the most part, no factor, at least over the field. Or I was expect ILS approach 10 left, which is what we want to see. We'll see, 10 left. We have high intensity runway lights, approach lights, Pappy on the left, 3-degree angle on that Pappy. It's grooved, RVRs are reporting, and we've got 7,433 feet of runway off the glide slopes, 150 feet wide. Once we land, we'll exit off the right, probably Bravo 8. And we'll just make our way around to Terminal 4, park at Golf 6. We'll see what this new SAM program does. If it'll, maybe this time it'll give us marshaller tugs or something, so we know at least what gate we're parking at without having to try to fuck around and look at it. Other than that, coming down here to our McDo. We'll get this programmed up. Winds are 130 at 11. Temperature is 26, and the altimeter is 2996. Minimum's 200 feet. It is an ILS, so we'll go ahead and arm our ILS push buttons, and we're going to go auto brake low. Bottom altitude. 5,000. Yeah, 5. Cool. So that is all set up. And Chase is just out here. He's just out here making a masterpiece. Look at that. He drew that with a mouse. That's pretty good. Alright, go manage descent. Green dot's coming down. So the aircraft's going to pitch to roughly 1,000 feet per minute until it captures the glide path, and then just gonna ride the lightning all the way down. I'm supposed to have the airports turned on in cruise, but I didn't, and I don't care. Every day then woohoo. Just kidding. I would stream every day. Man, I wish I could, if I could be like Captain Canada and do this for a living, that'd be awesome. You know, put however much gas on the airplane that I want, don't even have to care. He's flying out in the middle of nowhere. Yep. Oh damn, he put a now we got a helicopter. That looks like a Robinson R44. On the beach. All the time. Yeah. I see I'll see R44s, I see Bells, see Airbus helicopters. You see all kinds of stuff when you're down in South Florida on the beach. There's so much money down there. You see all kinds of stuff. Well, guys, I think it's time for a drink, so I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick. Drinking and flying, flying and drinking. I've got my favorite seltzer, the Ranch Water Original, but today we're going to kick off drinking with a new drink that I've recently started trying called Ranch Rider Spirits Company. It is a premium tequila seltzer with only reposado, whatever that is, reposado tequila, sparkling water, real lime, and jalapeno. So it burns a little bit when it goes down. It's pretty good. I'm a big fan of the can. It's got a cowboy about to rope some cattle. Actually, it looks like that's a chick. Never mind. Cowgirl. And I love the color of the can. Got that OD green. Made in Austin, Texas, and Jalisco, Mexico. Anyways, honestly, it kind of tastes like drinking a cactus, but for some weird reason, I like it. Standard. 2996 is our new altimeter. That's as close as we're gonna get that one. And we'll get that seatbelt sign on. Blake, I have a bright idea for some great simulations. Okay. Text you now while we're descending. Making my way downtown. How do you go live without 1,000 subscribers on YouTube? Man, you can go live with 0. You just hit the little go live button, fill out the description stuff, and then you're live. Now, as far as plane spotting, you know, we were talking about it yesterday. That's a whole different ball game, since obviously you're not hardwired into like your house Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So from the little bit of research that I've done, like we talked about yesterday, There's a device that you can get that captures all cell signals, binds it into one signal. That way you're not, stuck on just one, and gives you a much more reliable signal to go off of. But I don't know how you connect like a Canon camera to YouTube. But I'm sure some pretty quick and easy Google searches could show you how to do all that, which is pretty much how I've made my channel. It's a whole bunch of going to Google, how to we lost Hillbilly in the middle of the flight. Yeah, I think he's off busy right now flying his Piper. That's pretty cool. Check this out, guys. Wrong side of the planet. That's awesome. He's making my my YouTube banner. So he's basically making this. That's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Good job, Chase. I like it. Alright, we are definitely in icing conditions. It's probably the reason why I never go out of that wing view, because I don't see what's coming at me and I don't get my engine any ice on. Oh yeah. IFR Captain says, thanks for the SAM review. You're very welcome. It seemed like I was getting a few questions on it, and the last stream, I think I mentioned something in the title and noticed that my views went up a bit faster than normal. So I was like, well, it seems like people are pretty interested in it, and I was too. Before I bought it, I tried to look it up, and there was nothing on it. So figured, what, might as well buy it and do a little review on it, and here we are. So far, I would say it's probably not worth the money that they charge for it. It's got some flaws, but I think it's stuff that could be fixed and built upon. I'm not sure how much of it you've seen, IFR Captain, but the issues that I've had with it so far, at least in the Tolus and the Level Up and Zebos, 737, once it loads the payload, when you go to depart, all of that payload disappears. At least on the Tolus, it never even was loaded. When you go to the Tolus menu, you can see the fuel is on there that you requested through SimBrief, but the payload is not. So that is a huge issue. That completely disrupts all the immersion. And then obviously like some ambient sounds for whatever phase or whatever is happening with SAM, like boarding passengers or the catering carts and stuff like that. That'd be great. And then animated passengers walking up on the airplane. They did it with the catering guy, so I feel like they could do it too with the passengers. I'm not drawing any weather at all. Oh, there's some way south. A no factor for us. Alright, so we're going to shortcut a little bit. We're going to go over to, let's see what we got. Flight plan. We'll go straight to Holland. Direct. It's gonna be a tight little turn since it is an acute angle or an acute turn, however you want to call it. But no big deal. And prog, just letting that staying here at 8,000 until we get the vertical deviation a bit closer, and we'll start riding that glide path back down. I'm not really sure where the weather is that Balance is drawing, and this stuff's a little bit old too, but we should have some stuff off of our right wing. Yeah, I probably need to get that. I just put the flight plan into the weather engine, so we should get a little more accurate weather. About 3,000 feet low on our glide path. I'm going to drop us down to 4,000, and once we get about parallel to Gamvy, we'll just turn direct Gamvy. Almost outside of icing conditions. We're just over Weston. There's a little part of South Florida I used to live in. It's pretty upscale, pretty nice, pretty quiet, which is why I liked it. Definitely need like 4 roommates to live there. Let's see, seatbelt question. I think each airline video for LA flights on the website. Trying to find it. All right, what's the seatbelt rule? Takeoff and descent. Like, when do you turn it off and when do you turn it on? If Tom is still here, I'll let him answer that if you like. For me, obviously, for the most part, you want it on when you climb out. You want to I mean, you'd leave it on for a while just to make sure, you know, you're not going to hit any bumps. Usually we leave it on till cruise, or yeah, we'll leave it on till cruise, and if it's smooth or we don't hear any reports of bad rides, and we'll turn it off. Like on the way going up, since we just came up from Lauderdale and we had smooth rides, I went ahead and turned it off. Real life, you don't really know what you're flying into, you would probably leave it on until cruise, and if you're hearing from ATC that rides are good out ahead, then you probably cut it off then. So let's go direct, Gamby, direct to. We are right on point, right on the glide path. Alright, so I'm going to go selected speed. On 15-mile final. Start slowing it down. We'll arm the approach. Or approach mode. We're no longer in icing conditions. So we've been clear to land, so we'll go ahead and turn those on. Now on our next flight, when we head over to Tucson, we are going to get on VATSIM. I don't know if there's any coverage. Nope, not yet. Hopefully there will be by the time we get out there. Loc star. Glide slope star. We're below flap 1 speed, so we'll go class 1. And we'll go autopilot 1. 13 miles. We'll drop it down 170. We're on the glide slope, so it might slowly start to slow down. If not, we'll help it with some gear. Loc. And our missed approach altitude is 4,000, which is already tuned. So we're not really slowing down much. Forgot to run the approach checklist. I always forget the approach checklist. I guess I wrapped up in the chat. I forget. Alright, we're just below flaps 2 speed, so we'll go flaps 2. There's 7 miles. Go gear down. Arms pullers. Flaps 3. Ding the dingbats. And manage speed. Flaps full. Landing checklist. Cabin crews advised. Auto thrust speed. Auto brakes low. EKMMO landing all green. Landing checklist completes. Stable. It's a tad below the glide slope. Correcting.
Five hundred. 400.
A right quartering crosswind.
100 above.
200.
Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard. Retard.
10.
5.
Spoilers, reverse green decel. Manual braking. Got a little rain. Alright, we'll hold right here, clean up real quick. Alright, we came out of reverse at 1918Z. See, I feel like negative 116 is not that smooth, but I don't know. For me, if I'm not below 100, I don't like it. That's just me. Set the bar high, right? Get those brake fans on. Gets a little heavy with the right foot. And there's 3 minutes. Yellow electric pump. And we'll shut down number 2. Guess the ground is wet. So it's supposed to be like some sort of effect. You hear those brake fans. Whoop. A nice little quick turn. Round trip up to Orlando. I don't remember what all key bindings I've made to this thing. Alright, do we have anything to let us know? It's like, I feel like, I mean, it's just me being picky, I guess, but if this SAM program knows that we're going to Golf 6, I feel like it should have something spawned out there so you can at least tell like what gate you're going to, and it looks like they're waiting for you. Parking brake set. Alright. Engine 1. Beacon, seatbelt sign, fuel pumps. I think that yellow pump should have came off first. And we'll stop the timer. Block time was roughly 54 minutes. So now let's see what old Sam does. So the jet bridge doing its thing by itself, so that's a good start. Oh, that jalapeno kind of goes to your nose. Alright, so we're going to tell it we want ground power, ground air, we have a jetway, and now it's going to do its thing. Well, hey there, guy. Name him Steve. I don't know why I like Steve, but Steve sounds good. So pretty much everything does what it's supposed to do. So I guess let's have a little overview, a little conclusion of this new SAM GroundService XP. Complaints. Big one, probably the biggest, is that even though SAM is loading payload, no payload is actually being loaded that's being recognized by the TOLUS menu. And that also reflects in your takeoff numbers and that kind of stuff. So that's a big one. That's pretty much the entire purpose of this program, is to load payload, passengers, bags, cater, all that stuff. It's supposed to do everything automated. And that, the biggest part of it, the payload, it doesn't do, and that's a huge strike. Another complaint: if we have automated catering dudes, why don't we have automated passengers boarding the airplane? I would also like to see ambient sounds. If passengers boarding, I want to hear them. If this catering guy, if Steve is walking on and off the airplane with his little galley carts, I want to hear it. If we're going to a gate or we're going to any parking spot, if we're telling Sam what parking spot we're going to, I would like to already see some of the equipment spawned at least. So at least looks like it knows where you're supposed to park and it's ready for you. I don't understand what the point is of telling it where we're parking if it's not even going to show you something in that parking spot when you get to it. So that kind of ruins a little bit of immersion as well. Now, pros. For the most part, it does everything it's supposed to do. The one thing that it doesn't do, like we talked about, is it doesn't actually put the payload on the airplane. And that's not just the TOLUS, but I've had that issue with the Zebo and the Level Up airplanes. That's a big one. But everything else, you get these better looking automated tugs and baggage carts and bag belts and bags going up and down on the bag belts. Like, that's really cool. It does look better than this other ground handling stuff that we have. This whole little deal when it pops up. Looks better than that. At least we got people on the ground, so that's a plus. Is it worth $30? No. If they can make automated passengers, or animated passengers rather, right away, I think everybody will find that this is worth $30. I think that's everybody's biggest want in this is going to be animated passengers. People probably wouldn't even care so much about the payload not loading if we're able to see passengers boarding the airplane. I think that's going to be a big part for folks. So at this point, like, I wouldn't put this any more than $15. That's just me. But if they were to fix some of the, or not even if they were to fix the issue with the payload, unless I'm doing something wrong, but I don't believe so. If they fix the payload issue, add some sounds, some animated passengers, and maybe spawn some vehicles at the gate that you're going to, then me personally, I would maybe pay a little bit more. But a lot of people who fly X-Plane are going to be kids who don't have jobs and don't have a whole lot of money to throw away. I finally got to the point in my life where I'm a big boy and I've got a big boy job, and fortunately I can spend some money on flight sim stuff. Not everybody's that way, but for me, if they were to solve all of my complaints, I would spend more than $30 on it. Until then, I would say it's not worth it. Oh, and another con too, you have to go to an airport that has SAM capable jet bridges. Otherwise, it's not going to board your passengers in a jet bridge configuration. We talked about it earlier, but whenever I was in Orlando and I was parked at the gate, it was an auto gate jet bridge, not a SAM jet bridge. Therefore, it boarded everything, or loaded everything, but it would not board passengers. SAM couldn't tell if there was a jet bridge connected or not, and therefore it would not board passengers. You would have to hit fast track. But it turns out it doesn't even matter, because we're still having to manually load our payload through the TOLUS menu anyways. So that is that. Now let's I'm gonna get off of Atlanta, close out some of this stuff, and we'll get a replay going. Kind of going back to the chat a little bit real quick before we do. Just parted Fort Lauderdale for Barcelona 19 hours, 31 minutes ago. Oh, Dan did. Damn, that's a stupid long flight. Currently in Kansas. Seatbelt on once fueling is completed, and doesn't come off until around cruise and smooth air. On during turbulence and back for landing at the approach checklist. Blake will call it out. So for the approach checklist, y'all run the approach checklist when crossing below, like right when you cross back through transition altitude, right? I think that's when y'all do it. Hopefully I can butter this landing. After 4 hours, going to send a picture and for sure recording it. Sweet. Good luck. Hopefully the weather's good for you. Holy butter. I really don't feel like that's much of a butter, but I don't know, like I said, anything above 100 I'm not happy about. Amazing stream and had some entertainment for half the flight, landing in 1 hour and 6 minutes. So not bad. Also too, I'm going to be setting up for the next leg for the Tucson, or the hobby over to Tucson leg. I would say I'd probably go live in 30 minutes and then 30 minutes for setup. So, you know, it should be about the same time if you want to try to fly with me. I will be on VATSIM. And good review. This totally makes sense for sure. Not worth 30 bucks. Yep. I think most people would come to the same consensus that I do, that this is just not, it's not there. Not yet. Now, often, you know, they usually update and add features and stuff, but I guess we'll see. All right, so let's hit a little replay. Let's go back to the first landing, wherever that's at. If it'll even go that far. I probably just screwed it up. It's so far back, it's probably gonna crash to desktop. I gotta go get the oil changed. Oh, that, man, I freaking hate oil changes. As much as I'm driving with my commute, I'm changing my oil like every 2 to 3 months. Did we kill it? That's gonna suck because I would like to at least seen the last landing. Maybe it's loading. Yep, step number 1 on the approach checklist calls out local altimeter setting and verify altitude readings match between captain and FO. Yeah, that's what I thought. And usually I'm relatively good about running the approach checklist. Often I'll get pretty wrapped up in the chat and forget to do it. I'll just hit standard and keep talking. But usually that's my key to do the approach checklist, is crossing through transition. Man, I really want to see that landing. It's frozen. I think it's just been loading stuff. Because when I went back to the middle, it probably had to go all the way back to Orlando and load, right? So we'll just do the last checklist to keep it pretty easy on this thing. And I don't want a floating GPU. Man, please don't tell me I got a freaking... Let's do this. Let's go. Let's just shut her down. Nope. Other way. And ground power. But see, it shouldn't actually shut off the airplane because the APU is still available. It's still providing power. Alright, so with that, let's go TOLUS. And we're going to shut. Yeah, everything needs to be closed. All these damn fences. Alright, now let's see how far I floated. The smooth is great and all, but look at that. 500. 1,000. Eh. It's not the worst. At least you put your gear down. Yeah, I know you had that issue the other night. I don't remember the button. There we go. Alright, Chase, sounds good. Hope you have a nice buttery landing, sir. The butter melted. Oh, dude, banana pudding? Man, I love banana pudding. Jealous. Very jealous. Alright, let's see if we can get the Orlando landing. It's going to have to load. It's going to be a little weird for a second. But hopefully we can watch that one. Alright, there's a start. Now what would be cool that's Orlando Executive. There we go. And so what would be cool is if we could watch all of the ground equipment come to the airplane and all that stuff in the replay. That'd be pretty neat. Man, I gotta use the bathroom. I gotta pee. I'm like 2 coffee drinks in. And now a can of Ranch Rider. That wasn't bad neither. I don't know why there ain't no spoilers though. Yeah, we're a little crooked. Everything's stuck. I think that's just because we've gone back so far in the replay. I noticed there's like no wing flex. Yeah, I'll take that. Alright guys, well, that's going to do it for this little, whatever you call it, Ground Services XP review live stream. Figured we'd cover this, and I feel like there's a lot of interest in the product, but I think the price of it is what's holding a lot of people back. So I wanted to give a little clarity and show, at least for me, what my experience was like with it. I'm going to put chapters into this if anybody wants to watch. Probably should have said that in the beginning. That way they can go to what they want to see for all the information that they need. I might also do a pre-recorded video as well, just to something a little bit shorter, a little more precise, to show the things I like and I don't like with it. But anyways, guys, I'm about to get ready for the next leg of the day. We will incorporate this new program just to see what it does, but focus a little bit more on the typical flying and chatting and that kind of thing instead of talking so much about this ground service stuff. But anyways, so give me a few minutes, and we're gonna fire up our next leg, and we'll see y'all in the chat for that one. Talk to y'all in just a few. And just curious if we're gonna see any of that ground stuff come in during the replay. I'm guessing not. Not to mention all the flight controls and everything is stuck since we're so far back in the replay. Nah. Alright guys, we'll see y'all in just a few minutes, about 30 minutes or so, and we'll get the next stream started. Going to fly from Houston Hobby over to Tucson in the Southwest 737-800. We'll fly the Zebo on this next leg. We'll see y'all in a few.